All right, folks, welcome to part three of the social process and control theories of crime presentation. We're now going to continue with the modern social control theories. So first up is Matz's drift theory, and do not confuse this drift theory with the neutralization theory, which Matza was also involved in. So in this theory, Matza is going to claim that individuals offend at certain times in their lives when social controls like parental supervision, employment, and family ties are weakened. So, in developing this theory, Matza criticized earlier theories and their tendency to predict too much crime. For example, theories as those of the Chicago School that would wrongfully predict that all individuals in bad neighborhoods will commit crime. If you guys remember that zone two, that area where factories were moving in on residential areas and causing chaos, it was assumed that most, if not all, individuals in that area will commit crime. Similarly, strain theory predicted that all poor individuals or individuals exhibiting strain would commit crime, and obviously, that's not the case. So Matza claimed that there is a degree of determinism, and determinism is an idea, remember, from the positive school in human behavior, but also a significant amount of free will, which is now an idea from the classical school. So he referred to this perspective as soft determinism, which is a gray area between free will and determinism. So Matza claimed that individuals offend at times in life when social controls are weakened. As is well known, the time when social controls are most weakened for the majority of individuals is during their teenage years. So it's during this time that parents and other caretakers stop having a constant supervisory role. At the same time, teenagers generally do not have too many responsibilities. Think of, for example, like a career or taking care of a child, and that would inhibit them from experimenting with deviance. So this is consistent with the age-crime relationship. Most individuals arrested are in their teenage years. Um, Once sufficient ties are developed, people tend to mature out of criminal lifestyles, and that is seen here as the peak is in what seems like the late teens, early 20s, and then people just seem to mature out of committing criminal acts. But anyhow, um, Matza claimed that when supervision is absent and ties are minimal, the majority of individuals are the most free to do what they want. Where then does the term drift actually come from? So, as shown here in this figure, it's going to be during the times when people have few ties and obligations that they will quote unquote drift in and out of delinquency. So, Matza insisted that drifting is not the same as a commitment to a life of crime. Instead, it's going to be experimenting with questionable behavior um, and then rationalizing it. Uh, the way youth rationalize behavior that they know to be wrong is through the learning of techniques of neutralization. Now, Matz's theory of drift seems sensible, but empirical research examining the theory has come back with mixed evidence. So, one of the main criticisms of this theory is that it does not explain the most chronic offenders, the people responsible for the vast majority of serious violent crimes. So, chronic offenders often offend long before and well past their teenage years, which clearly limits the predictive value of Matz's theory. So, even with its shortcomings, Matz's theory does seem to explain why many people offend exclusively during their teenage and young adult years, but then grow out of it. Also, the theory is highly consistent with several of the ideas presented by control theories, including the assumption that first, selfish tendencies are universal. Second, these tendencies are inhibited by socialization and social controls. And three, the selfish tendencies appear at times when controls are weaker. Now we're going to focus on Hershey's social bond theory. Now, this is one of the theories that I really wanted you to concentrate on. So, this is probably the most well-known social control theory within criminology, right? Hershey's theory of social bonding takes an assumption from Durkheim that we're all animals and thus naturally capable of committing criminal acts. Hershey indicated that most humans can be adequately socialized to become tightly bonded to conventional entities such as families, schools, communities, etc. He claimed that the stronger a person is bonded to conventional society, the less prone to engaging in crime he or she will be. More specifically, the stronger the social bond, the less likely that individual will commit criminal offenses. So as seen in this figure, Hershey's social bond is going to be made up of 4 elements: their attachment, commitment, involvement, and beliefs. So the stronger or more developed a person is in each of the 4 elements, the less likely that person is going to be to commit crime. So I have a good video here